Kelli Holmes, and I'm the CEO and founder of Team Referral Network, and I'll be your host for today's featured event. The Brown Bag Lunch and Learn webinar series is designed for busy entrepreneurs and business owners who want to invest in knowledge that can help them succeed. Today's topic is pivot for success, and I can say that I don't think that's ever been more important than it is today. And our expert today is Stacey O'Byrne, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to our fantastic guest today. Stacey is one of the nation's leading experts in entrepreneurial transformation, evolution, and success. Stacey is an international inspirational speaker who specializes in Successology, the science of success, and we'll be talking more about that, you can bet, today. Stacey has authored several best-selling books. Her co-authored book with Jack Canfield was released late February of this year, and she also co-authored a book with Jay Abrahams that was released in May. Stacey is a trainer, best-selling author, certified NLP master trainer, a Team Referral Network franchise owner in San Diego, Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada, Orange County, and Long Beach, California, and Stacey is a U.S. Army veteran. She has built 2 7-figure businesses and 3 6-figure businesses 100% from networking. Stacey has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs, helping them create the success they desire and deserve. She helps entrepreneurs, salespeople, business owners make shift happen in their lives. Yes, I said make shift happen in their lives, businesses, and bank accounts. If you mean business about business, Stacey can help you make your dreams your reality. Stacey's passion is working with amazing entrepreneurs just like all of you. She and I share that together. Everybody, please welcome Stacey O'Byrne to the Brown Bag Lunch and Learn webinar series. Good to have you here, Stacey, with us.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Great. Well, I'm really looking forward to digging into the meat and potatoes of what we have going on today. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to that next slide. And let's talk about this topic, pivot for success. So pivot's a word that you've had utilized in your sales and leadership training company for all of these years. But did you think you would ever hear that word used so much as you do right now in today's circumstances?
You know, it's pretty funny because I've known all along that athletics and entrepreneurism in life all have a very relative and similar foundation, and that's the ability to stand on a stable foundation and then have the sensory acuity and the flexibility to be able to adapt and adjust as necessary. And so for me, pivoting goes all the way back to my days in basketball, and whenever we got in trouble, we had to find a stable place to put our foot and pivot to get ourselves out of it. So when I started my company, I asked myself, what's the number one thing we need for success? And that was the ability to have a pivot point so that we have an advantage over our competition. And our competition at times can be the environment. So to hear all these people touting something that's been so dear to my heart for my entire professional career, I find enjoyable. How's that?
Yeah, I think it's great. And just so we're all clear, your company's name is Pivot Point Advantage, correct?
Correct, yes.
I love it. I love it. You know, it's interesting because obviously right now we're referring to the pandemic that is going on and the overall effects on the economy and business owners right now. I think people will be able to tell just from our conversation when this was recorded. But the information that we're going to be sharing today just doesn't have to do with these times. It's absolutely across times in order to be successful. But it is interesting in these times, you talk about pivot being used so much and people being looking at something that you've been utilizing all of these years. And I have found that people have learned to network online more than ever. And it just kind of took a little global pandemic for everybody to realize what we realized 6 years ago when we first started virtual teams. Mm-hmm. So we probably both might have been just a tad ahead of our time, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You know, it doesn't matter what the environment dictates. What matters is how you respond to the environment. So the flexibility to be able to allow yourself to adapt and adjust is imperative for survival in anything that you in anything that you do, let alone wanting and choosing to thrive. So Yeah, I think you had the foresight to know that being virtual was absolutely necessary to adapt and adjust to the needs of entrepreneurism, busy schedules, the millennials. And for me, it's just, when it comes to entrepreneurs, business owners, and sales professionals, it's their ability to be able to pivot on a dime that will allow them to achieve the successes they've always wanted, no matter what is in front of them.
Yep, I agree. So when we talk about the secret of success, tell us today what you think our audience can expect to walk away with from this webinar. What would you like to see them walk away with from this webinar?
Absolutely. Success starts with you. Success starts with, I believe wholeheartedly, success is 90% mindset and 10% skill set. I believe that you can create anything you want as long as you hold the intention, hold the belief, get out of your way, understand that you have blind spots, do something to address those blind spots, and then show up in a state of excellence on a continual basis. And so many people fail in every aspect of that. So hopefully today will be an eye-opener to awake them from what it is they don't know that they don't know. So now that they know what they don't know, they can do something about it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, great. Well, let's just jump in here. So plan A, like I think most of us, we have the plan A, maybe we have the plan B, we have the plan C. If we're digging deeper, we go to a plan D, but I love this slide because it talks about the alphabet having 25 more letters, and I had no idea we could actually go into the Japanese alphabet and still be in good shape. So it's a good thing because I'm sure many of us have been blowing through the alphabet. What do you want to share with us on this?
Reality is there is never any failure. There is always just feedback. And we adapt and adjust and course correct through this entire journey. Look, in some cases, these are unprecedented times, and in reality, they really aren't. When you go back and look at history, every decade, something has been thrown at the economy. Every decade, something has been thrown at the environment. And it's those who have the fortitude, the stickability, the foresight to adapt and adjust who come out better on the other side. So for those people who are moving forward and attempting to do the same thing over and over again and expecting to get different results, they're going to struggle. For those who attempt to do business like they've always done it, they're going to struggle. And reality is, it's just about maintaining awareness of what's working, what isn't working, do more of what's working, and change what isn't working. And that's why I love this Claire Cook quote so much, because there is no right or wrong way to do it. The right way is what works, and the wrong way is what doesn't. And the only thing that's wrong about discovering what doesn't work is not exercising the flexibility to go out and seek other things that could.
Excellent. I liked that a lot. I think our audience will really like hearing that too. So let's get to the magic word of the moment, pivot. Okay. And, I think I've been seeing this over and over again. One of the things that has amazed me about the Team Referral Network members that I've had the opportunity to interact with during the last several months through all of this is their amazing flexibility. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about flexibility, their adaptability, and now more than ever, the need to be truly connected. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've seen this happen, I have watched people's businesses go from being a robust promotional products person, offering many different choices to support their clients and customers, to being, a specialist with branded hand sanitizer and branded masks. They really just jumped in there and did what needed to be necessary to quickly reinvent themselves and become a successful business in that realm. So that's kind of a pivot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's looking at the needs, wants, and desires of the environment, of the prospective avatar, and adapting, adjusting, and just changing your message. And so many people show up and they continually tout the same message, and that needs to change. We need to have different conversations. We get to have different conversations.
We get to have it. That's what I think is really cool. And I have actually seen some amazing success and creativity come out of this time. So if you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. Boy, that's pretty profound. And I must say, you and I, we see this all the time, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I think one of our greatest challenges, because you and I both serve the same community and we get the honor and privilege of working together and serving this community, is my heart breaks for them, you know, when they don't get it. Okay, so I think if there's anything I want to share from this particular slide today is listen up, because you got to get this in order to survive this and then to thrive in this, right?
Yeah. So reality is one of the number one mistakes people make is they pursue FOMO, fear of missing out, and they speak in such ambiguity to accommodate the FOMO. So reality is we cannot be everything to everybody. Reality is our brain cannot achieve ambiguity. Our brain is only capable of achieving specificity. So it's really important to understand the power of linguistics, both externally and internally. Now, what happens is if you tell your referral team, if you tell your networking partners, your power partners, that you need anyone who needs fill in the blank. Well, reality is we don't know anyone. We know Sally, we know Joe, we know Tom. We know people who are struggling in the economy. We know people who may be upon losing their house or their apartments or their condos. We know people who are unemployed. We know people who need more money. I mean, I could go on and on. We know people who are expecting their first child or have a child that just graduated and went to college. The brain needs specificity. So we must communicate that externally. Now, whatever we do externally, we also must do internally. I hear people say all the time, I need more clients. I need more money. Well, more is a comparative. Compared to what? More compared to what? So what happens is when we think or speak ambiguously, generally, and we use comparative words, the brain can't latch onto it. So when it turns around, and if we turn around and say, I need more money, and then you find a penny on the ground, well, your brain looks at that as your need is accommodated because a penny more is still more. When you're not satisfied with that, the mind doesn't understand that. So it's really important that the communication we have internally is as specific as the communication we get to do externally. When you are pursuing a goal, you want to make sure that it is very specific. You know, we've all heard the SMART acronym, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. A goal has to have all of those elements in order for the mind to know what to pursue.
I like it. Okay. So, and I love the brain needs the specificity. Those are I'm taking notes like all of you are out there and writing this down. Go back to FOMO for me and define that again.
FOMO is fear of missing out. What happens is, you know, our networking members believe in their heart of hearts that if they don't broad brush stroke, use a huge paint gun, you know, in representation of your husband's profession, if they don't use an entire paint gun to just send their message, they may miss someone who has a need, want, and desire for a product, service, and solution. And what they're not understanding is it's so broad that the recipient's mind can't put a person on it. So you want to get so specific that you almost name the person. I mean, you have heard my keynote where I talk about I asked for 7-Up and 4 years later I got Pepsi. You know, it tells people I want manufacturing and I can handle a large account, right?
Yep. Yep. I love that. And the fear of missing out is something that I see a lot in our world, on a daily basis, that real broad-based, painting the picture very broad-based. So getting hyper specific and getting very, very clear on the SMART goal that you want to have is great information for our listeners here today. Let's talk about Successology. That was a tongue twister in your introduction for me, so I'm glad I got through it. But Successology is your trademark methodology here of doing the science of success. So tell us, what is the science of success? Because I know we're right here in your wonderful sweet spot right now.
Yeah, so this is my passion. Reality is, the one thing that people fail to realize is where we go, we follow. And everywhere we are, our results come. So what I mean by that is science has proven that we are imprinted between the ages of 0 to 7. Science has proven that our imprint shows up in every area, from a towards motivated way or an away from motivated way. And what we want to do is we really want to get into the heart of our imprint. And really what that is your brain is the most sophisticated computer operating system that exists in your life. So many people invest or spend an immense amount of money on iPads, iPhones, smartphones, laptops, computers. They update them, the software version of it probably daily, weekly, or monthly, and they probably update their hardware, maybe once every 1 or 2 years. And none of them, or few of them, really focus on updating their brain. And if your brain is the most sophisticated operating system that runs your life, which then runs your success and accommodates your business, why wouldn't we update it? So many operate on DOS 2.0. When you look at our surrounding avatars, our prospective clients, when you look at them, so many of them have been raised by one of a few people. Either they have lived through the Great Depression and have been imprinted with that mindset. And what was the mindset back then? It was scarcity and lack, right? Desperation. Or so many that exist today have been raised by people who lived through the Great Depression, or people today have been raised by people who have been raised by people who lived through the Great Depression. So all we're doing is we're taking this program and we're just carrying it on generationally. And the beautiful thing about the brain, because it is an operating system, is we reprogram it. So many people think sales is a numbers game, and in reality, sales is a science. And when you learn the science, the only numbers game that exists from that point forward is how much of your money you get to keep tax deferred, or how much of your money you get to keep in the IRA.
Nice. I really like those choices. That is awesome. Okay, here we are. Lay it out there for us. WTF, Stacey O'Byrne.
WTF. So my favorite question to ask people is WTF. Where's the focus?
I'm so glad you cleared that up for us. That's great.
Think about what's going on in the media today. In the media today, every day they're talking about fear. They're talking about surging. They're talking about shutting things down. They're talking about the pandemic. They're talking about the economy and the unemployment rate. And then my favorite is they're talking about these are uncertain times. The one thing I know about entrepreneurs, and I know that you and I share the same perspective client, and you see this too. The only thing that's ever uncertain in an entrepreneur's life is what they're going to do till they're certain that they're going to do it. These aren't uncertain times. What these are times that are different, and we get to adapt and adjust. And reality is, in times of the greatest adversary are typically times where people can really tap into their excellence and be of service at an even greater level.
Innovation, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So the going back to the science of success and relative to WTF, where's the focus? Science has proven that the average person has between 64,000 and 90,000 thoughts in a day. 64 to 90,000 thoughts in a day. That's the average person. I don't know how they do it. All I can envision is there's a bunch of white coats in a room with clickers. I don't know how they've gotten that number, but they have it. So 60 to 90,000 thoughts in a day. Now, they've also proven that the average person is programmed to focus on what it is they don't want as opposed to what it is they do want. Have you ever noticed that when you ask someone what they want, they can tell you everything they don't want? But they have a really hard time specifically telling you what they want. My favorite example is, honey, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. I don't want pasta. I don't want this. And they go through that laundry list and it's like, whoa, I didn't ask you what you didn't want. I asked you what you wanted. Well, that carries forward with entrepreneurs. So when you look at the numbers, 60 to 90,000 thoughts in a day, science has proven over 90% of them are focused on what it is we don't want to happen. When we focus on what it is we don't want to happen, where does our energy go? Our energy goes where our focus flows. So if we're focused on what it is we don't want to happen, we're actually creating the exact activity to create what it is we don't want to happen.
Wow. Whoa. Okay. So I imagine that means we need some good programming.
So yes, going back to the science of success, when we look at how people have been imprinted. So between the ages of 0 to 7, science has proven we've been imprinted. So we've been born as a blank slate. And then everything we see, everything we hear, everything we've told from influential adult figures in our life. These are parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, could be older siblings, could be teachers. All of that gets etched, gets programmed into our brain. Then we roll into what's known as our modeling years, which is between the ages of 8 to 13. This modeling is we take that program and we deploy it and we practice it by modeling these people. So the little boy that walks like dad, the little girl who puts makeup on like mom. All they're doing is they're modeling this program now to make sure they get it right. Then at about 13 years old, between the ages of 13 to 21, our teenagers then go through the frontal lobotomy phase. That's where they take their frontal lobe out, they park it on a shelf, and they become these aliens that we don't know. And this is where they move into what's known as the socialization phase. The socialization phase is where they run the program that we have installed in them. They practice the modeling that they have done with us, and they take it out to their world, what's known as junior high and high school. After the age of 21, between the ages of 21 and 30, we move into business persona. That's where we identify our professional relationship with ourselves. So our professional ethics, our professional fortitude, it's kind of where we find ourselves. So, you know, when I don't know about you, but when I turned like 23, 24, I called my mom and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I really didn't know it all. That was because I rolled out of the socialization phase and into my business persona phase. So it's really important for you to step back and take a look at your life, because we do what's called looping. All we're doing is deploying the programs that are written that we don't even know that we don't know. So like beliefs. If you turn around and say, I'm not good at delivering commercials, well, that's a belief. I'm not good at cold calling. I'm not good at having power partner meetings or delivering commercials or having coaching sessions or connecting with people and networking with them or walking into a room where I don't know people. All of these are beliefs, and beliefs are a program. They're a program that either we have deployed at some time in our life or someone else gifted to us. So when you understand your programming, you can understand how to shift your programming. Now, change doesn't happen at the conscious level. And when we're part of the problem, we can't be part of the solution. So it's really important that we surround ourselves with people who lift us up. The people in our team chapters, people who have aspirations, for a greater life, for greater success, to be of service, to help more people. We want to surround ourselves by movers and shakers and impact makers. We want to make sure that in order for us to be aware of our blind spots, in order for us to get out of our way so that we can get on our way and have our way, that we surround ourselves with coaches and mentors. This is the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make, is they try to go at it alone. You've never seen an athlete that does it. You've never seen an Olympian that does it. You've never seen any of the greats in the world that have gone it alone. You have to surround yourself with people who can call you on your stuff, who can see the blind spots that you can't see, and who can help hold up mirrors for you. It's really important that you put yourself into a networking or multiple networking environments, especially, you know how passionate I am about team. You have to be in the team environment. It's really important for you to insert yourself into a mastermind environment. It's really important for you to insert yourself into a group coaching environment. It's really important for you to have a coach to call you on your stuff. It's important for you to realize you don't know it all. You can't know it all. And if you want it all, you have to do things that you haven't done yet.
Wow, that is powerful stuff. I'm going to chuckle just a little bit here because we both have daughters that are in the 13 to 21 age space. And the minute you said that's when they go out into their world and socialization, and about 23 is when you reach back to call your mom and say, you didn't know everything. I'm holding on to that 23-year age where my kids call me up and say, gosh, Mom, I guess I didn't know it all. That is so great. But, you know, as I heard you map that out, I reflected on my own life and how true it was and how applicable it was to me and the different things that I did. And then, you know, as you and I both know, we've raised daughters, and I've watched them go through the exact phases that you outlined there as well, up to their age that they are now. I'm hoping and praying I didn't royally screw things up between 0 and 7. And I bet most of our listeners who have children right now are sitting there going, oh, good God, what did I do between ages 0 and 7 with them that imprinted their brain? So sorry you can hear my dog barking in the background, everybody, but Ben is a little active today. On the programming element of things too, the 64,000 to 90,000 thoughts a day is a astronomical number. And I guess that's sometimes why we can't sleep at night, right? We get those thoughts just clicking and going through our brains, right?
So,
okay.
So one of the reasons why we can't sleep at night is because we've learned not to listen to our mind. We've learned not so we have two minds. We have our conscious mind, we have our unconscious mind. Our conscious mind is arrogant enough to think it runs 100% of our life. And reality is it's just the tip of the iceberg. It only runs 10% of our life. Our unconscious mind runs 90% of our life. However, it stopped developing at the age of 8-ish, right? So when it stopped developing at that age, it responds to being ignored just like a child does. So when you're not doing the activities that you should be doing, it gets loud. It throws fits. And it's when you shut it down, when you ignore it, when you talk mean to it, like when you call yourself stupid or I'm an idiot or how can I have done this or whatever, it takes it very, very personally and it responds as a child and then it throws a fit. So when you are not doing the activity, when you're not accomplishing productivity, when you aren't listening to the one thing that's programmed to accommodate success, it's going to respond like a kid in timeout. And that's probably not the most favorable response. And then all that mind chatter starts. You know, I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. It's known as the bully of the brain, the ants on the brain, however you refer to it, the voice in your head, the one that just said, I don't have a voice in the head. That's the one that keeps you up at night because you're not listening to it and it's doing everything it can to serve you.
Wow. Okay, so I'm taking breaking the chains here might signify some breakthroughs. Is that what we're looking at here?
So breaking the chains is the limitations that we've bestowed on ourselves. Anytime that we deliver an excuse, anytime we say anything like because or can't or modal operators of impossibility, what we're doing is we're just binding ourselves more and more with chains. See, reality is there is no difference between the air someone who doesn't have success breathes, between the air that someone does have success that breathes. The difference is how empowered one is and how disempowered the other is. So empowerment looks like understanding you might not be able to control your environment, and you can definitely control whether or not you react or respond to your environment. And when we're empowered, we learn that the environment externally is of little regard to me. It's how I choose to respond to it that's going to dictate whether or not my company moves forward or falls backwards. And when people start saying, I can't fill in the blank, I can't make money. So I had a conversation with a massage therapist, and look, I want to be very, very clear that I am very, very sensitive to the situation that a lot of people are in right now. I know that for a lot of people, they weren't prepared for this. They weren't ready for this. Hell, we weren't. And reality was, we stepped back, we looked at what was going on, and we adapted and adjusted. For some people, they just shut down. I had a conversation with a massage therapist back in, I guess it was like March 18th, that said, Stace, I don't know what to do. I can't touch people, and touching people's how I make my money. And so I just pushed back on her, and I said, well, now is the time when people need you the most. So tell me, who's your avatar? She goes, my avatar is people who want self-care, people that understand that massage is a necessity. It's preventative maintenance. It's not a luxury. And I said, and who are those people? She goes, they're entrepreneurs, they're business people, they're salespeople, they're people who are stressed out, they're people who have demanding schedules, and or people who demand a lot of them themselves physically. I said, oh, so stress. Do you think we're in a stressful time right now? And she goes, yeah. And I said, so you're telling me these people are probably more stressed than they've ever been, and which means that they probably need to be touched more than they've ever been touched. And she goes, yes. And I said, so why don't you turn around and do a few things? Why don't you have one-on-one Zooms with your clients and have them show you, where's your tension? Tell me what you're feeling, and then show them where to rub. Teach them self-massage. What this is going to do is this is going to make you more valuable, because people think my neck hurts, but what they don't realize is it's probably because of their pecs or their lower back or their shoulder. It's really not the neck. So you know so much about the body that you'll never be able to teach them everything. So they're going to need you even more, but you can be there for them and help them through these trying times. So schedule a 15 or 30-minute Zoom with them. Do a focus on a spot. What else calms stress? Breathing. Who knows better than how to breathe? Yoga instructors and massage therapists. Why don't you teach them breathing exercises that will help eliminate the toxins that are being held in their muscles? So I went through everything with this person, and you know what? They didn't replace their money 100%, but they didn't lose their money 100%. As a matter of fact, I think she told me she made about 70% of what she could have or would have made. Now, I had a conversation with someone else in a totally different industry that ended up tripling their business. So it's about stepping back and saying, what are the pain points of the environment, and how do I deliver my message differently, and how do I deliver a different solution? But when you say I can't, that instantaneously bonds your ability to move forward.
Break those chains. I like it. I like it. So what is inspirational?
So this is another one of our trademarks. And you know, one of the biggest things is people come up to me and say, I procrastinate, I need motivation. Well, in my humble opinion, all motivation is a lot of air under someone's wings, but it really doesn't propel them into taking action. So I believe in finding things that inspire you and attaching action to it. So as business owners, salespeople, and entrepreneurs, this wasn't easy. This isn't easy. If it was, everyone would do it. Because we have the best boss and the worst boss. We have the best boss because when we want time off, we give it to ourselves. We have the worst boss because when we want time off, we give it to ourselves.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So we want to, instead of pursuing motivation, we want to tap into what inspires us. We want to pursue inspiration, and then we want to make sure that attached to that inspiration is an action plan. So we at Pivot Point have an inspirational quote of the week where we take a quote, we apply an action plan to it, and people can opt into it, and they get inspiration along with an action on a weekly basis to help people step out of their comfort zone and get out of their way.
Cool. I like that. I want to come back to how they access that information. So don't let me forget that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So almost nothing worth accomplishing can be done alone. So, one of my favorite themes, okay, here is it takes a team. You and I both work with team, in team, on team, and with some of the most amazing humans on this planet through team. But I'm, going to ask you here, what do you mean by this? Although I think I know.
So, I have always believed there has been no validity to the term self-made millionaire, because reality is you didn't make the product, sell the product, pack the product, ship the product, buy the product, invoice the product, and collect the money. So every millionaire has some kind of team behind them. So when somebody introduces themselves to me as a solopreneur, my heart breaks for them, because now more than ever, we need support. We need to be surrounded by like-minded people who are in pursuit of the same thing. Now more than ever, we need to be surrounded by people who know people, because I don't know if you've noticed, but all the federal stimulus, all the economic stimulus that's been infused in the economy has not stopped people from spending money. People have actually, when you look at Amazon, when you look at all of the shop at home, UPS is busier than ever, FedEx is busier than ever, the post office is busier than ever, Amazon is busier than ever. And what's happening is our consumer today, they still have needs, wants, and desires. And they are still seeking products, services, and solutions for them. Now, they are more apt, more than ever, to buy what they're being connected to. So if someone says, do you know Kelli Holmes? If you don't, you need to. They're going to reach out because they need that need, want, and desire satisfied. And they don't know where it's coming from if they just click on a sponsored link on social media.
Right, exactly. It's true. Almost, I can't believe the way the consumer has been spending. My husband, the painting contractor, is busier now than he was in the boom of 2007. And I didn't think we could ever be any busier than that time. And quite frankly, once 2008 hit, you and I are old enough to have experienced this and gone through this. Once 2008 hit, I never thought we would ever see that kind of economy for home improvement, at least, ever again. There was no reason to think it would ever come back to that ever again. And I can tell you that's exactly where he's at right now. And it's not just him. We can't even find employees to hire. Everybody is working. Everybody is doing this. And, he's booked for months and months in advance. A really strong indicator that there are parts of the economy that are doing extremely well. And our people that we serve need to tap into that. And the best way to do it is to not be out there alone, but to be surrounded by a great team of people who can help you do this, no doubt.
Yeah.
I know we're getting a little close to our time here, so I do want to catch this last slide before we talk a little bit about how our audience can connect with you, Stacey. So this is a great, again, we know our people very well. So this is a quote. When I saw your PowerPoint, I was like, wow, boy, this is true. So please share with us what this quote means.
This is my favorite quote when it comes to entrepreneurs, business owners, and sales professionals. Tomorrow is a mystical land where 99% of all human productivity, motivation, and achievement is stored. I tell my clients all the time, reality is this. If you want to get it done, schedule it. Put it on an exact day at an exact time. Because when you turn around and say, I'll do it tomorrow, tomorrow never comes.
Never comes.
The day
Yep.
you wake up, it's today.
That is awesome. I love that. And I think it's a great way for us to finish up and wrap up the Brown Bag Lunch and Learn webinar for today. But very quickly, before I let you go, I want you to share with our audience, how can they connect with you? Do you have anything special that you could offer them to get involved with Pivot Point Advantage and kind of expand on what you've shared with us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few ways. So first, you can go to pivotpointadvantage.com. That's my website, pivotpointadvantage.com. We've got 10 things that you don't know that sabotage success. We also have Inspirational, that all we require is your name and your email address, and you will be sent an inspirational quote of the week on a weekly basis. One of my current passion projects is my podcast, Sell Without Selling. Sell Without Selling is on anywhere you listen to podcasts. And we do everything we can to deliver golden nuggets on a weekly basis. I have a solo show that releases on Mondays. It's about 20 minutes. And then every Wednesday, we release an interview. I interview successful people so that our listeners can grab golden nuggets from them, because I believe success leaves clues. And one way to stay connected with me and interact with me on a continual basis is to join our Sell Without Selling community on Facebook. I'm in that community about 5 to 10 times a day, and I interact with people on a continual basis there.
Wow, and I love that. And that's new, right? Your Sell Without Selling, the group is new, isn't it?
Ironically, we launched the podcast and the group the week of the pandemic. We have been working on this since November, and it was all planned and scheduled, and then all this happened, which was perfect because it just gives a resource for people to tap into for help and support.
That's so true. That's so true. Okay, one more time on your website before we let you go.
So it's pivotpointadvantage.com, pivotpointadvantage.com.
Excellent. Well, Stacey, what a treat to have you on today. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to our audience. For those of you that are out there that have not been connected to Team Referral Network, here's our information as well. The teamreferralnetwork.com will navigate you to where you need to go to visit a chapter. Of course, we're doing virtual visits right now, virtual meetings now. And so we'll hopefully help you connect with some great people as well. Thanks again, Stacey. I'm going to go ahead and end our Brown Bag Lunch and Learn webinar for today. Thanks so much, everybody.